March 23, 2014. I am still in pajamas, sorry. And I'm not making no invitations to no twisty sodomaki, and I won't. And just having a little moment, just woke up, and well, forgive me for this. This is a very special thing I just want to do now. This is for the twice. I'm going to relate and explain something which somebody around of the world wondered and asked me to say. Why the gevedrecha de slagemecha da inamanecha de skolplet ankalkecha de shmitnanim. The name of Hashem and the way of the Eltik da chachim mishkalkina chachaim aleini manecha. Well, suddenly already have, and still the same disgusting gashkot baltika shodmaiki kalchim mit ananopt, saying item first, and I said first. It is like to say that I keep under fire of hell, which this will be. Grand whore insists in I to be a degenerate, an abomination. The victims suddenly is going to be mercy of, and a lot of them are already suffering rapes given by the same Guillermo brain and its associated. And the right ever once I always name insists in they to be the reason of God and the core of God, and the only ones to say what can be holy and what can be not, and what the character, reality, name, and affairs of God, while only are a simple thermometer for Sodoma and all the generation that they need for this to be done. Well, suddenly there is this insisting by Sodoma, the generation, that I supposedly been in a very public fornication of gays place yesterday afternoon, while I were recording the videos to saying it's them, already forged everything, and I never were there, and asking to the ones of the place, they lie, like something extra happened yesterday, which this seems to be like a vicious of the prostitute Cristina Kirchner, pedophilic Aníbal Fernández, and Sodoma degenerates, Ejército Argentino, Armada Argentina, and heads of Armed Forces Argentina, which seems to be like the 9th Sodoma nest station, commended over this place where I were, to putting some rotten shit in my coffee milk. And I supposed to be making this to manipulating myself, so damaging people and taking money from them, of course, also. And also to cover that I will be a rotten completely about having so much sex with any kind of a degenerate and shit all around, that I will be just rot about the whole of the diseases and whatever to picked up in the middle of the way for the making this as well. So I will cover this way on my psych battery and trying to taking opportunism and chances upon them, which they do all the time, not me. But well, let's put it this way. Over this all I just said, and I'm sorry the terms again, like I always do, HTTPS www, always at the edge of the abyss, for the every one of the damn grand whores and sodomakis all around, all followed with no punctuation signs, no orthographic signs, point int in F8, OS recall the last Adonai given me, and I maiden, and not by no one of this lousy crap conceit of the supreme of the world, which doesn't knows nothing but making profanative witchcraft and parasiting people to taking them everything that the people can be in virtuous capacities and whatever they do can ahead in life, to saying it belongs to them because if they come in and cut the cut of the hell, which is no god and won't ever be, caving them, of course. That's what they serve so often, to kidnap people, forge and making the whole of the lie degeneration and organizing of liars, criminals, psychopaths, and massively raping and murdering, saying, I got the power. That's what it serves for. Well, the last key, I just put it here in my accounts. Okay, the reality of this all, further this I just said, it's actually the authentic Kamal and Khadim, so I'm going to explain around this, and I suppose to end this all, the whole night having sex with uniformed trousers, male Sodoma trousers, and some, suppose my friends, I will ever done too. All around the Avellaneda Park in Floresta South neighborhood, all around Chacabuco Park with the 12s, so with the phallus and the orgasm in the hand, they said, and also all around Palermo and all around whatever the places I will ever all night go, even in Ezeiza, to the Gendarmeria, militaries, and the PSA. My God, you know. Damn shit of the hell. Well, the reality of this all is I've been sleeping here and I had a very heavy dream and a very not resting night, and I just slept last night after making a very special moment with ICC and the examination court of US. Some special things which are supposed to be my delirious, my sickness, they says, of course. But well, let's put it this way. So the reality of this whole, while people gets murdered, raped, killed here around, my friends. And insistence the goddamn degenerates, which I am medication faulted, and arming and forging and making all kind of other generations with the one that consists of judge of the civil supreme court of the government of the world, wagmaster, prostitute, cycle, degenerate, frenzied, one fecal neuron in its brain to work and like the shit for the hell. Sorry. Keeps and insisting in arming and saying that it happens all that Federal Police of Argentina and see that everyone else says, oh my God, I have them all for me, and I have them all. They have in places for I to be the queen of the world. Oh yes. Damn whore. Well, the reality of this all is but okay, sorry for this. Let's do the reality. חבריך דשת למניך דשקלת עליך אחד לטקטיקה מחכם אשכולתי חיים מלאינה מלכינה מנחיים דשקל חידף is actually a verhalach dion smodle de kamal chachen mostly enshefel dasach namarchot shlumat. Whenever we go to the etika leshmotlani chat ashmot in Torah, there tells a simple, clear fact over all takik machashuf numut. لإنك برات شيخ ملاتريخا سنيتال أنشموت الخود لو نشنكتك مناخال شنية لي مخ لحط شبوت لأن تكتك نخاف سلشفات رخابل تنكي مطلنا من الفلخات لديكي خان الشخانم Galvet rechimot lenemenefes shelvelet praktikal chashechalbet ankaltaikni chaimo shluta cha'atablitem plosmot inkaltrachem. סדרפת רמלית אבל שופלת לטנקל כמות לנמנה יקל חנם כלפלת רפלפות אסלת ימושופלת אנקל קייקה חד נמני אבולת רקימו לחשבול חנמדה ינמנב סדרמל וטרמל וידה פולפות לדשפל קליקה חד דמולי תיקה נמושפולת לחינימת אינקל קייקה חשומלב אלבד רפידס מוד לדי שמיע חלט דיבה אינטלגי כיחיני שומות לנט אבל כלמולך החאולובות על מניקה סטלופת שבלת למנחתי על חבש שפות לנמנך על הקטיקים מנך לא שובת לדי קטיקים גשפת רמל ודרדי כיפות לנמנך על פדי אשמות ליתיקה חלש שופות למנת רמל חנולו אבל קייקאיה דשמות לאין שמת לנים שופות למטרחי לסת למטריח חלש שופות לתיקה מלך אחת לדי קינה מלא שופות לתיק אשמות אין חנים אל גבט רמל חידה פלפות לדסיפות לנשמות ליקינה חלי שופל חד סל מטרחימות לנמנפש שפל חד לדי קומת סקלבן חמלפי דסל סש שפות לנקימות לנעין המלך תחל חברות לדי שפות לדי קטיקה נמנחל אל סדרי ולפת לדי שפות לדי קימות לדי גנחלכים גשפות למטרמלי ינפת לניח סש שפל תקל חדשומות ליד אינמה רינה מלך החל אובנמות אלה תרמל ודפן הפונט לדי גשפל חד לדי שפט רינה מלכת לידיקה אינמל אנחת שפות נם סעיל תיקה מטרחופות לדי ששמת דליקיני מניה ולחת ליתיקה אין חבל אופנם על התרמל חנם על הפניו גלבט רמל ותרמל ותפלפות לדי שפטן קיל מנח החל שמת לני מנח הלא עובות על השקד איניקטף חל עולם So suddenly we can check about this and we can say Del kibi khashuf no molta ingdekni indel khoshet in am alafti khuman at noloft in bilkit angel dus motor kimena entrachinim de vetrasit shot lanach lo an geldus mot il ametrachim bil inshetef le inkobat en kolmocha shot al onfot lishmetrachiv otelei in dalki geishum bol netcha geintom furle intelskef gelacha umol vet anstika reetas kofle hasmot olfentam the idredische velgin Ever the reality of altrachnische velgatladias were ridden at albet enkel dromelin tishko fa engiilit nismit alklechat talmud which were an extract from the Alvachuma Alashni Monatikin Tamud Lut Mochmovot, and also as well from the same Alshtekti Omod Engeniv, Liana Melcha de Shmotladi, Genski, Kinomlacha, and Abel Totika Molushni Bel Umat Imat Het Nusmotlum, from the same Shemot. Gedrecht lachide Shmotladieta Fechale Shmotladerecht. Nechalosmotlo de shmotlai from Adchani de Elchoven snet all gaap to aktik smotladik geinim zetle trava de sludas met intact stetik naklie menachli en fotla smotlain gel tradische fotla da tinki malchada smotladi en fotla da shefet malchand aikatav زائتشكي بالخيد مثالو مودال إنكا إخنمش اللنفنتم زوال خمالت فشفولت رنخل ديفتمات على الشي بديك لخيديم Geini mital ka felchudes smot laikimi indan sefot lo smot lesen chushmat leintam berkaktika. זה אלחת לבדרכי יחשם אל תמנך על משמט על כי כמה חנים. דיפרי ספפות לסמשובות לכאנך אנו מולטייטני מנשקי מנך. זאת לבך דשופלת אנמנקטיקה חנו מולבך אנדשק מולך בנהים. דשוות לדבתך דשגניקה נעול וחקי. זי אינט och lägna dismovent get all tachlis få de almet insha elcha moof delti vesnu vol ekom alfang zaam ge elsheftiva ga enso voltatin schmit ingetani dat ik dacha shot nolita kimini kham גדריסה שובל קיקה איך נמל השופות לטנקטיק אנחים. זה אילואנטי מושמי כחו אל חוט אשלוטנית המלקטיקה. אתרנך לשמוד ליטף. זה איתד ישמות לדקטיקה מלפחות שמאלום. Suddenly the whole of the ערך השוט לדקטיקי מניקח לי אינשמתי על חנדוף. פרובנסיטה שבטים פרובנסיטה בלקופדך. And this is from the same reality of the ilke cheshkoverchot. Norantich. So spotla tankinam tahe cholos motlemaniacha fotlete spotlen antikim. Zeltrivech alismotlen amenacha tisho fotleden katrekimenachal oshofot smotlen. Kalvecha tesmi intellectikecha sa evolet ant nishmichi. Chelchuv nosomot. The reality of everything around us is a vuli onoi kina ikuel bek umuch al inshmat letrech le insidni sikubel in krochmut zim alum she'ev takaf. That's why the word Everecha, de fatlerecha, de smatlaria verecha, de smitlaniski matlan sospatlan chaim met angeli chaim meskitninam. Zerijn fatren icha de sospatlan tikem, besachaloot amale shafatlan. So suddenly, at the blijverech hadoshish modelitika me inchat noelin. Zi imat lekuchlus, shafudlit amatrachtihan. Espotlatek. Whenever you read in the El Tachnoish Motlitiki Michi Namachim Esble in Sheshmit Altikach Navat La Onshe Umunotik Alvenot Chol Snetof Slak de Chol de Smot Ilchat Chol de Enstaf Atlemetre Nimesh Al Chut de Shestiv. Simply it is the Ilkatre Inchavnov. With the reality of the anthropology for Arachali Shashmini on morphologically, it is that Rolutravicha to smotlet and Shoshu Ulutik Namantchong to smot. But for the anthropology, you understand Alver en Chai Shet Nimit Anikini Killing Cha Inomol Imish Lentikam. Svo Elachtecha, Ze Itreda Shoshmet Inkalach Nehim. In vetromot letaki de shofo el hacham, dat in bonaitika chlushev no ulmetri, adonaikel en shubal nechanit. Cheshoflu et hachat. Then whenever you understand these whole things, you get Jei vikanech lushosmot ladiktika W. Everracho esmot lanemenech lainke spot ladi I. Geshbel etricha de smot ladaticha H. But in daltika felchush mulentika malechanes poala spot ludon ismot UI altecha she'inita gemelechahi A. Shvel ekatrecha de smot ladi H. Al dachna giltishki trachinimit W. Evlet ravele shofot litika mesmot lucha chadlut usdiktikta I. Elkleki motlani, skut laki komotlani, I skelt verkati H. Verfotlani, skelt inchades motli, UI A H W E H. Kalpecha Yahweh. Avlepecha yeverecha de shavledi echeverecha de shochlemenecha Chai dishmotlanika shevelechat ledikecha Adlet in shmotlatikem felechat ishmotlatina shmotlatecha Yahweh Ashmolecha de sitina shmotletikach namot Lehimacha chod molfet en shmolechenichim Zerefalt gamele shachal bleding ashmanechachim Shalom. And to end this, that I'm going to say, oh, you are going to see now, because we know we are the super witches tellers that we guess everything, and he's going to say that because we know that and everything because of God of the hell, which is no God, tells us, and you're going to see what is he going to say now, like, did you ever know why my mother answers this way? Oh, she got ill by the same old from Ruby and from the whole of the ones that were making to me all of this invented cause. Oh my God, yes, I know and we know and they knew first. Oh my God, he's going to say that. Well, the reality of this home, if there can be called a home, is exactly that she is ill. And it's exactly at the first ever time that I were inside this address that Evangelios Argentina started making a war to me and supporting this whole Sodoma degenerate, and started in the 12th, the phony 52, and with the whole of the bodies of Central PFA, cycles, degenerates and witches, making the whole degenerations to me, and saying there is a mega cause because of brain, the damn disgusting demon that we're making the whole degenerations with the whole of them bodies all the time, just saying how they're robbing me and how they're making the whole degenerations and forging and making up for I to be a victim of them and my family, like every one of mine, which were robbing my friends and giving my friends to the rape and murder and whole less humanity that he benefited on opportunism like a demon he is, Guillermo Brain, and its bodies, which are the same disgusting demons just like him. Well, the reality of this all came to be at the certainly act and fact. Over at 2006, I had this reality of this trade-in, which is moved in this address from another we were. Nobody knew us here. Nobody were about aware on nothing of us around here. And these were a simple classic fact over we never had no supporting, no help, no nothing to holding up, like happens in most of the cases just like this, and natural the Mexican, which the called cofradías, the fraternities of crime in Mexico, normally happens that a lot of people recurrently get abducted or kidnapped for crime, for being murdered or destroyed or whatever there to be the business over this class, just like here and much other places in the world happens, for they to be like a trade or business for them. So suddenly, in a very long time that I've been recycling this apartment, which it happened with a couple of workers and one with licenses from my brother-in-law that we were paying, that ICC already has everything and this insisted, and I robbed them and I forged and I sent also them photos. And anything is just able for the character of this abominable cycles of hell, this degenerates demons, in PFA, PNA, PSA, GN, AE, AA, Forces Argentina, and the rest of them bodies. All officialism and them discussing prostitution, Christina Kirchner, with them. Well, the reality is that nobody were here around, ever. No police, nothing at all. And whenever we just moved into this address, start to being a very so at my door. And from my door until 5 to 15 blocks all around, operatives of PFA all around, and the disgusting witches, Sodoma faggots, I'm sorry the word, were permanently passing by out in front of my door and watching me and sowing hate like a damned generation that they all are and like they will die. So suddenly those times were about threatening and manipulation and making the extortions steal and all around. And suddenly I were just like an in heat faggy all around the neighborhood about they were saying while extortions and all the generations and witches and evangel whores were all the time making the war and starting the we are going to control this, we are not going to let this to happen, and we are going to making this to be like we the say and Lord the say to us. So suddenly this happened like I were herein, there comes a real threat with a whole of a bunch of cycle shit all around and a lot of used and yield, which I wish I would done something better for them. And there were this reality which, well, I just got afraid about this and I didn't want not even my mother to go to her work. So suddenly I used to telling to my mother, stay here and do not open the door. And those times were about whenever we just got for a walk around that I were like stepping eggs in my walk. This were a very like serious situation over there were the witchcraft working and telling make it know we are there, and if touch us we kill every one of whatever to name him. So suddenly there were my cycle delay resolutional condition. Oh yes, of course, always were the same. We knew it. We knew it. Oh my god, we knew this. HTTPS www las miserias de las maricas de Sodoma y toda la maldita mierda de las adivinas que dicen ahora vas a ver lo que dice, lo que hace, porque nosotros lo sabemos cuando delira y qué es lo que tiene que decir. Point int, sorry the terms in Spanish with no case, maricas with C. Well, this happened simply, and I'm sorry the terms again, and I'm sorry for the name of Adonai, and for every one of us, and for who I am. This happened like there were these two Ducato vans to Fiat, one old and one at the edition of the moment, the year. One white and the other cream color. And the cream color were of the funny shit Sodoma police station, which supposed to take in my mother, and the brand new one, which supposed to take in me, while then the masonry and officialism Aníbal Fernández and hell them Sodoma degenerates Ejército Argentino and the heads of the armed forces here were telling one sacrifice for the whole humanity, take him and we do what we can do, and pretending to sell me like a piece of a meat, like a product of them, of course. Always the same atrophiated, disgusting, one neuron of shit like hell working, Sodoma cycle that generates damn facts ever. Sorry the words. Like done to my friends too. So suddenly there happened like they were following us, chasing us all over where we were. And we went until Plaza Italia, Palermo, and they were chasing us until there. And we got back to the Primera Junta, Buenos Aires, and they were after. And suddenly I said to my mother, let's go to the Church of Carnival, nice place where I will go. While Adonai were telling them, this is exactly truth, this person means me. They were this one, and this woman is this one, and this is what happens, please make something and help. Vlad Melchanian started saying the layers and has powers that cannot have, but Adonai were making the job. HTTPS www Nunca confíes en una ramera de Babilonia. Point int. F5, the both of pestes, the last key that I just put it in my accounts. OS recall. And suddenly I wanted she to come with me, and she got like a mule and really in a so clear character of this all about no, I come home, no, if you wanna stay you stay, but I'm coming home. And she got like a mule, fearing, and suddenly happened the reality of she suddenly got up into a bus to come to this address. And watching the whole of this which were happening, and this degenerates as delusional delirious, I just took her with my strength and I put her down off the bus and I said, come with me. And she got like a panic and she just went away. And whenever went away, I came with her for the reason of I knew she will be raptured by Sodoma, because of they want her and they wanted her for the same that they want her until today, the same that I have done to my friends. So suddenly happened the reality of I just were around then and I got afraid for what I saw and what it were around to happen. And I were about 16 to 28 times to being murdered, and this we're studying about how to getting inside this address, to breaking the glass of this window, if you can check there, and getting through the hand with the gun, and watching all of the sights and shutting in for the murder. And they were watching about what are doing with the neighbors. They are going to know, oh, don't you worry, we'll make up anything because of no one of this are known there, and we can control the before address, so anything of this we can handle, and the newspapers and the reporters are not going to say nothing because of we are going to control everything, so let's do it. So I were afraid, and they were planning permanently to get inside here, while the whole of the degenerates were here all around, and while making the whole of them shits ever phony, were the first as ever to saying, this is not going to escape from here, we are going to retain it here, and this is not going to run from us. So let us do, because if this is not going to escape, and this is not moving from here. And this is going to die here, of course. So suddenly happened the reality of this world that started to make intimities all around the whole of the neighborhood here around, permanently, never stopped. And one of the things that called my attention is that with one of the neighbors there were a cop on the watch here in front of my door, supposedly to help the neighborhood and taking care of the place which we're building here in front, which after that gave into people, which some works and other perhaps not, and there is not a very cute community living around. But further this favelas of mockery and officialism. This certainly truth is exactly which they were watching me permanently. And watching and delirium and making up any kind of a shit and using a lot of people, ill people, instead of the forces that murdered after. Well, the reality happened that just I were here around, and suddenly some neighbors talking with, there used to be vegetables store in front of here, a really small one. And there someone said to a cop, oh, this one eats it? And why don't you put it inside there, back at the bottom of this local, and you just fuck it there. I'm sorry the word. And why don't you go inside of its bathroom? Get inside the house. Put it. Make it now. So suddenly there happened the reality that this were all around permanently and never stopped to delivering and making the whole damn crap that they are for. And these were and is phony. And is supposed to be my psychopathy, and this supposed to be my wish to happen for the degenerates that makes the court to them. And you see what this woman answers for. Just turn out the light which I needed for a little bit more being watched. So suddenly, this is the reality that these degenerates were permanently making this, and suddenly I got afraid because of there came the threat which we were about to be kidnapped with an invention of Jorge Botalo, PJN Argentina, of Kirchner's, making up a very cause saying this is what happened, and the CIDE and Prefectura and Federal given this whole things which were forgery, and this whole testimonies which were from the disgusting degenerate demon Guillermo Raciprain, and telling that I were making all they said, and they had to putting me in jail to me and to my mother because of they said that I've done that, and my mother were my accomplice. So suddenly, this reality here around happened at the point of all of this came to be like I got afraid and I didn't want she to go to work. She were working since her 11 that my grandmother brought her from San Luis province here in Argentina, where she born, overworking like a domestic cleaning service, keeping service. So this reality is that she were until her grown age in some teachers of school, principals of school, some family houses making the clean and skipping, and that's how she raised me and my sister. And I'm not embarrassed of this, and I wish I could done really much better, for I really had more than capacity and interests for, but the reality were permanently Sodoma that generates Argentina. Which also there's to saying that my mother were a whore of them and a whore permanently, and of course, and whole forgery and liars and degenerates all around, and insisting in the same and murdering people, like Christina Kirchner also says, and the degenerate Wegmaster, and Wegmeister goes about to manipulate and making appear outside and inside of this lousy country. So suddenly happened the reality and the character of this soul, which this came to be about that point that she were around and went to work, and I didn't want she to go. So suddenly I were so afraid, and she stood here around and started calling SAME paramedics, government of the city of Buenos Aires, with the cycles inside. The cycles that generates making up any kind of a shit and already arranging, sorry Adonai and sorry the terms, with Sodoma Federal Police of Argentina heads to the making me. So suddenly the plan of premeditated in 2005 with Guillermo Demonia Brain and its buddies just were executing at the phony Sodoma Nest Station, PFA, Argentina. So at the reality of this all came the truth, a certainly clear thing, which happened this exact terms. I just were in this place and started to come quacks, and the whole of the human meat market, always once, of Federal Sodoma Police of Argentina, them bodies, and started getting inside here, and once came a disgusting degenerate shit of the phony which still works and never happened to nothing like to the rest. Oh, we are not going to be putting under arrest and damaging an officer of the our forces for a disgusting lousy fag, which is supposed to be me. Of course not. And this disgusting pedophilic, disgusting rapist, cycle robber degenerate PFA, which now has the prontuary, there says, the ID of the PFA, 79881-21223 for the Security Council, United Nations, came inside of my address and taking a chair, he seated. And I said to him, can you please get out of my address now? Because if I were denouncing them already that they were harassing me all over, which were happening permanently. Harassing me, persecuting me, and making up any kind of a shit, and making the whole of the damages as possible, and a lot of times threaten me, and for the 2000 they almost murders me in the street at the Chivilcoy street near Venancio Flores Street, here Floresta North, Floresta, city of Buenos Aires, at the 5 noon. Afternoon, let's say, sorry, from a Chrysler Spirit patrol of Federal Police of Argentina, 3 in 1, and the back one lying in the back seat with an Itaca, with the whole of the window down, and at the 3.5 meters from my head from the side of the right, while I were walking over the people's path on the street. So suddenly, when I watched that, they just saw me and they cut in and ran. I have no idea why, but I just almost get murdered then, and that were not the first time. So suddenly this reality came to happen like I tell to this disgusting piece of a shit, sorry the word, get off of my place. And seated in my chair, sees me soberly, sodomitely, degenerately. No, I won't, because if I gotta be here for the doctor. And the damn quack degenerate sees him and tells him, get out please. Alright. This is Argentina facts of hell. Sorry the words. So suddenly that one started to putting in my mouth things that shouldn't never put in. A simple guard degenerate, a guard medical, which never done no psychodiagnosis and a simple talk over me, and always talking to my mother and my family. Until came Ruby, 5 ambulances passed by through my door. And when came this Ruby doctor of the guard of the Alvear, disgusting psychopaths, murderers, degenerates, quacks, mercaders of human meat, pretended of hospital place, came and spoken with my mother like a half hour at the door, and came inside here 5 minutes talking to me and prescribed halopidol. Miss, give him this, he's sick. And deliver into the same of the hospital because of this, what gotta happen. And my mother taking that prescription and went into the nest of this brothel that generates Wake Master, which before were the Basigalubo, but this whore were around then still, and making with that Basigalubo the everything that still does. But disgusting prostitute Christina Kirchner. So suddenly happened the reality that my mother were putting drops, liquid, of halopidol in my drinks then. And I never knew until she told me. So in the whole of the reality of this, I were frightened. And whenever once I tried to handle this soul with not knowing what will I do, just companion her and my sister Graciela up to the doors of that disgusting murderers and mercaders, traders of souls and peoples, pretended of hospital, Alvear shit, government of the city of Buenos Aires, at the door, and at the door were awaiting for me and for us 2 disgusting faggots Sodoma in black suits, sorry the terms again, awaiting for us. And when I ever seen that, I said to my mother, let's get out of here, let's get out of here. And she started to panic and threatening and really frightening, sorry, about I to be so sick. And I just went away and they just go back. But this is all delusional, all delirious. Cannot be. https www nunca confíes en Argentina .int F8 OS recall this last key. And suddenly happened after this the reality which I just came came on happening, the reality of this woman started to being eaten by this old circus all around here. The whole of the manipulation by the witches and the generates and evangelics with my delirious of ghosts, and the whole of the truth about the certainly fact that everyone that she went to and desperated thinking that I were sick about the whole of the parasites of hell cycles the generates were making, at the truth that no one ever knew nothing on me and no one ever spoken to me at the certainly fact to knowing or inquiring what were happening to me, and the reality of that Wegmaster cycle the generate with the Basigalupo aid in her head, inducting her and making the whole of the generation saying that yes, certainly it were illness. It were mental ill. And suddenly the whole of the cycle shed behind forensics. And the rest of the story you know. So suddenly she got ill because of she still thinks that I am a delusional, delirious, violent, dangerous demon that can have a psychopath or psychosis arrange, starring, turning on, and making disaster. And this is the right story, and I apologize for the terms after the naming Yahweh that I've just used. So the truth of this soul is exactly that every day around here, even the cycles that generates phony police station whenever I used to passing by, even when I had my night walks, that I had to go out for whatever the reasons and the realities, or I just wanted to do some things or getting approached to some place, respectable place, there were around and with no others around, the disgusting faggots phony used to taking the weapon Palki sorry, the Patlik Tachmalachi off and like to ready to accept ya. And much other. And these were not the only thing, but persecuted permanently to making up any kind of a shit saying that they got a controlling me. And I were so dangerous since then, and I were a terrorist by the Amias case as well. www in HTTPS la más enferma generación de todos los tiempos en la Argentina, oficialismo y Sodoma, Fuerzas Armadas, Ejército Argentino, .int, F12, OS recall, the last key. So suddenly I'm sorry the terms again, and this is the right story that also with this, that should ever having other place, another moment, another video, a lot of people told me please tell and let us know. So she is ill because of this degenerate soul and this abominable cycles Sodoma telling, we told you, he were about to saying that, we know this, and he delivers all the time, and this happened to every one of other. And she thinks that I am sick, whatever I to do, and also they says I do this at purpose for the making her suffering a total destruction. And the Belhamelechanim, I ill her. Of course, we are not going to pay for nothing. He done it all, and he knew what he were doing, and he made it all on purpose and provoking this soul. Of course. So this is what I'm gonna set you now with at this March 23 Sunday. This is now 11:54 at Buenos Aires City local hour, and this is my reality that I suffer every day. Gotta take it. He's sick, right? Please be careful around another night be with us. Shalom.